Welcome to Get Offset. My name is Emily,
And I'm Joan of Heart.
and I don't know if you saw it, but so y- working class music got their hands on a Gold Foil Jazzmaster. For reference, here's the one Fender sent me, and I was gonna send them this one, but they got access to a different one, and boy howdy, did we have different experiences on this
Woo!
guitar. This is maybe one of there's this is maybe one of the worst quality like guitars I've ever seen come out of a factory. And they had bad luck on the American Vintage 2 series Jazzmaster also. And I think that Fender needs to make it up to
No,
them.
I agree also, and like again, like with this one, seeing with the gold foil, it was just like, oh my god, like I hope like is there witchcraft involved? Why are they getting these horrible instruments?
I have like no clue, dude. And I feel for them. That really
I
sucks.
do
But like
too.
mine, the only problem I really had with the guitar build quality is I found the frets flat. I found the fretboard dry. Mike Adams would probably find some more things wrong with it. He made some other comments about the fret wire when I sent him some pictures, but nothing that severely impacts playability. Obviously, flat frets do, in fact,
Yeah.
affect playability of a guitar and feel. The only thing is, like, I just keep hitting this middle pickup when I play. I gotta get used to things. But it was wired correctly. The pickups all sounded correct. The bridge is aligned correctly.
Mm. Like
And and
how
so let's talk about. Can you tell the people at home everything you remember being wrong and with their jazz master, and I won't fault you for not remembering everything.
I mean, as far as like what any jazz master that I've owned.
No, the working class music one. Like,
Oh, the
what was
working
wrong with
class? Oh
theirs?
god, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. I think the fret issue now has been, like, consistent and constant. Like,
Oh yeah.
with it seems to be the the mark of Fender now. And, also, I mean, they've had issues with the pickups themselves, that theirs was the bridge pickup, and I swear to God, when watching that, the face, immediately you could see on Tia's face that she strummed or she basically picked the strings and her face just dropped. Like it went from like, "Oh, this is a jazz master. I really want to like this," to like, "Oh my god, where did the love go?" Like where
Yeah,
like you could
Jason
see it. Yeah, real
Jason
time.
Jason messaged me and he's like, "Is the bridge output on yours really low?" I'm like, "No, it's kind of in line with the other ones." And I was talking like, "Well, maybe it's just like a wiring thing." And
Yeah,
it turns out the pickup is under magnetized, which is my understanding. Like, there are lots of things that can affect
of
how
course.
magnetized pickups are. Blunt force trauma can demagnetize a pickup. Pulling them out of the box wrong apparently can sometimes, but
Hmm.
that nobody like went through the different pickup positions like to just try and make sure it worked before they got it. And they're not saying where they got it. It wasn't Sweetwater. It wasn't. They didn't get theirs from Fender. But what a terrible guitar in that. Just like the one thing, and a pickup is easy enough to swap out, but a gold foil pickup, they're not inexpensive. Like if you get one from like Curtis Novak or Lawler, they're not cheap. They're actually a
No,
pretty hefty investment. Like
no,
I
yeah.
want to swap mine out eventually, and then I look at the price. I'm like, I'm going to need to save up a little bit before I do that.
Yeah, I've looked at the Novak T-Birds, and of course, I'll blame Mike Adams for that. And I've looked, this was, I don't know how much they are now. I'm sure they've gone up. I think they were like 220 a pickup. Like when last time I looked, it was maybe like a year ago. I mean, I'm looking more into pickups this year, but still, I was like,
Yeah.
Novak is pretty spendy. I mean, when you think about it, yeah, and look at
It's
it.
it's definitely spendy, but for that you're getting
Oh,
quality.
you're getting, that's what I said. I totally understand.
Really,
Yeah.
really kind of understood as some of the best pickups in
Yes.
the boutique pickups specifically in the business.
Hmm.
And as far as I know, they're the only ones who are doing like the Diamond style
Ah, yes.
gold foil, which is what I want because I have a Diamond gold foil in a lap steel, or it used to be a console steel. If you know the difference, you know the difference. But
Hmm.
someone broke off one of the legs, so
Ooh.
It's okay. Now it's a lap steel. Or you can put it on a
Conversion.
cable. But, yeah, on an old Harmony thing that I have, but that isn't even all that was wrong with the
No.
guitar.
No, 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 no. It is something that I have nigh seen out in the wild where the actual like lever for the Bixby like comes completely off, like it detached. Like
Yeah.
I have never seen such a thing in the wild, and seeing this, like I am is still in disbelief and shock.
Yeah, they aren't using the higher quality Bigsby's, they're using, I guess I think the B50 is what they're using, let me
Mm,
look that up, instead of the B5, um, and those are just they're imports, they're still technically Bigsby's, yeah, so they're using a B50, not the B5, so, maybe that had something to do with it, but, like, I have a few B50s. I have, like, obviously mine, the arm didn't just fall off. That's not normal. That's not supposed
no.
to happen.
Well, I mean, also nothing things like, the tremolo arm and the American vintage twos are supposed to actually fit their fit and actually like, to the guitar. And yeah, this is another instance of like,
Mm,
it's just not good QC at all. And yeah, I mean,
no.
just Fender keeps getting kind of like, hey, at this point, it's like, oh, Gibson, oh, we know about you guys, but Fender, hey, what's going on?
That's, like, the greatest question, I think that one could ask right now.
Yeah, I think we keep asking this question and we
Mm.
keep, instead of basically they're improving in any way, they're like, nah, keep it going, keep it going. Oh yeah, the price, yeah, that one, yeah, it's like falling apart left and right. 1400, 1400,
$1,400.
1400.
$1,400. I can't comprehend that.
No, there's Squires that are like, they were talking about in the video. There's like Squires that are $800 or the 40th anniversary series, and it's like a much better guitar than what they had.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing, like, Squire, killing it.
Yeah.
The Fender guitars, ah, man, bit of a crapshoot right
Yeah.
now. Definitely try it before you buy it. Um, I've heard from some other people who used to sell guitars in their shops that one of the reasons they stopped carrying Fender was because they just kept having to do so much work on the ones that they got to sell.
Shit.
And, like, if you're running a shop, you're an in-person shop, you're probably already competing with a lot of things, and to then have to turn around time and resources and make guitars playable before you sell them,
Yeah, that's not
no.
cost effective at all.
That's just literally taking money out of your pocket before you
Yeah.
even sell the damn thing. So that was a bummer, and that wasn't even everything. Low and Lobster did a review of the jazz bass, and his issue was that the bridge was misaligned, so the output on some of the strings was lower. And guess what? So was Working Class Music's. Their bridge was misaligned on the guitar. So we have
That's
obviously a
horrible.
flat frets,
Yeah.
low output bridge, Bigsby arm fell off, which I actually forgot about until you mentioned that because there was
Yeah.
so much
Oh
happening.
god.
And
Oh,
then
it was
it's misaligned. Jason literally had to stop playing because he's like, I
Yeah,
don't feel
that
confident playing it right now, and I get it.
yeah, that's what I was just to bring about too, where he was playing it and he kept trying to like play something that would redeem it somehow, and he's just like, "No, I give up. I can't make this sound good or sound better. I can't play this thing. It's just bad."
Yeah, he does like the neck, so apparently he's gonna keep the
It's
neck.
little point there.
Oh, man, but
Plus
just, like,
1.
that the pickups, dude, like, that
No, that
is
was just flipping on the Swift of that pickup. It was just turned out to be just a song of sadness, like, just the look on her face. It was just like, ah.
it was so pitiful, dude.
Poor thing. Yeah, I felt so bad. Uh, I felt that. Like, I could yeah, I definitely felt that. I wasn't even in the room, and I could just feel that as soon as, like, just that strum and that the way the guitar sounded in that position, it was just like, "Oh, that's so bad."
Yeah, and, I am glad I didn't have any of those issues with mine. Um, I
Hmm.
It sucks. It sucks I just want people to be able to have the same experiences
Of course.
with the same people and products. Like, I want everyone to be able to have the same caliber. And when you're having such quality like control issues
Mhm.
to the point where like pickups are leaving the factory dead or dying and the bridge is misaligned, like I try this is a guitar you got either gotta try before you buy or make sure you're buying
Yeah.
from someone who's gonna accept returns if it's not good. And for Fender will happily accept a return if you buy something of that quality on their website. They have a guarantee. Sweetwater has a guarantee and they check things out. So, just make sure you're buying from someone who can guarantee that they're gonna check what they send you, and if they miss something, you can pretty quickly be like, "Hey, give me a new one or give me my money back."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually, companies like Sweetwater is pretty good about that. But
Mm.
if that's not one you can go with, yeah, just talk to your local store, see if that's something's possible. You could return it if any issues. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
something to be aware of.
Sweetwater affiliate link in video/podcast description. It costs you 0 extra dollars to use our affiliate links, and we get a little bit of a percentage back. It's not a high percentage, but it's enough to put a smile on my face and help me buy light bulbs for my lights and get Joe to NAM and
Yes.
myself for that matter.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. So that there have been a couple negative reviews obviously for that series.
Yeah.
Working Class Music and Low and Lobster. Low and Lobster team seem to take a little bit more
Mm.
joy in tearing that guitar, just shredding it. But both, people responded really well to both of those videos. And people it kind of reminded me of an article I read on Uproxx, and the title of that is Ask a Music Critic, Why Aren't There More Negative Album Reviews by Stephen Hayden. And this was triggered by a question he got from a reader who, what is that Italian metal band, Menskin or something like that? They were on SNL, they won Eurovision. I pinged you the article if you want to check it out. But he writes, like a lot of people this week, I read Pitchfork's. Actually, Phil from Los Angeles wrote to him. Like a lot of people this week, I read Pitchfork's extremely negative review of whatever this album is. I also read your review, which was also negative, though you were relatively kind compared to Pitchfork. I thought the review was funny and well written, but it mostly made me think about how rare it is to read an extremely negative review this time. Maybe this particular band is just an easy target, though there are other albums I think also warrant that sort of treatment. What's going on here? Why aren't there more negative album reviews? Don't tell me that music is better than ever. And if you watch gear demos or read gear reviews, that last line should sound really familiar because a lot of other demo artists, myself included, have, basically said when people ask this, like, there just isn't really a ton of shitty gear coming out right now. And when there is, it does tend to get relatively shredded pretty quickly. But Stephen Hayden, again, hat tip to him, he wrote an article kind of about why there aren't more negative reviews. And he basically has 3 points. It's about access, it's about fan bases, it's about poptimism. And I think one he kind of misses
Hmm.
is that it's also a little bit about how poorly negative album reviews age sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about Liz Phair's pop record on Pitchfork specifically, which I think they gave 0 stars, which is just cruel. And
Ouch.
it's a fun album. Is her self-titled album her best? No. 0 stars though?
Yeah. It's,
No.
yeah.
So about access. Music publications don't run negative reviews because PR people will blackball them and prevent the artists they work for from granting interviews in the future. This is petty. This is true.
Yep.
And this is relatively the case with gear demos. I'm going to be honest. I don't think that it is hugely a case. I think you can give a negative review of something, and then people will reach out and work with you again. Examples being Mike Adams. Mike Adams continues to, point out very, honestly, no punches pulled when Fender fucks up, and
Buckle
they
up.
still fucking buckle up. Uh, I love that.
I do too.
That's what he said in his American Vintage 2 review.
Rightfully so.
But they still work with him. And when I point out quality issues with Fender and other guitars, like I had a relatively positive review and experience with the American Vintage 2 Series Jazzmaster. I pointed out the issues with it, the flat frets, and the whammy bar being two of the big ones. And then they turned around and sent me the Gold Foil Jazzmaster. And was it perfect? No. Did I point out where it wasn't perfect? Yeah. I actually had a much longer rant about the frets in the unedited version. And then I watched them like, I'm talking about frets too much. People get the idea.
Yeah. Like, yeah, the first paragraph or so, I think we got it.
So when you think about a negative review, just for the sake of being negative, like the way Pitchfork is like edgy, and to review an album in general, you don't need that special access. Like, especially now, you can go on Spotify and you can shred something, like just shred it to pieces. I mean,
Yeah, it's easy.
uh, yeah, I mean, you might not be able to have access in advance, but you can still do that with a lot less of an investment than you can with a gear channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, like when it comes to there are some channels that, I know of, not to name names, but their whole content is just like telling you that everything is shit and like, they hate this or they hate that and it's just they just become the grumpy channel to
Yeah.
me. It's like it becomes predictable, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
just hating everything is and yeah, I mean, there are gear demos in which, yeah, I mean, if you're working with people and communication is key. If there's issues, obviously bring them up, and that helps with QC or improvements. Hopefully, if there's things where the thing doesn't work properly and they accept either the pedal or things back, that's the mark of a good, obviously builder or company.
Yeah.
But sometimes, yeah, sometimes that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I think a lot of demo artists, myself included, have um, gotten kill fees slash consultancy fees when we get a product in it, and it's just not very good. Like I was hired to demo an app, and I felt like there just wasn't enough documentation on it. I went through
Mm,
everything the guy had, and I didn't think it sounded very good. It wasn't working very well. I sent him what I had, and he's like, "Please don't release this."
mm,
He's like, "Can we have a call? Can I walk you through it?" And I said, "I'm not going to refilm this unless you actually invest in documentation, because if there are specific steps that you need to undertake to make sure this sounds good and you're not telling people what they are, I
yeah.
simply can't review your product." And then we have demos where like the Poly, the Digit
Mm,
slash Bebo, I I showed that fucker crashing. Like, and Loki, the guy who runs it, he watched my demo, he made changes, he improved the product, and he sent me a new one. Like
yeah.
that, yeah. So I think that if you are under the impression that there are no negative gear reviews, I think you're just mistaken. I think if something is bad, you're going to hear about it from a lot of people. I think a lot of what people are thinking when they think there aren't negative gear reviews is when they just personally don't like a product, and that's fine. But I come from the perspective that if it's functioning the way it's supposed to, and I think someone can get sounds that they're going to like out of it, there what's the benefit in me being negative about it other
No,
than to get
just
clicks?
yeah, like clickbaity, edgy, like, thumbnail tagline kind of thing, like some people do. Like, oh, that's it. I finally had it. And I'm like, had what?
It's Joan.
It's
It's they've had it. Are you not listening? That's a
it's
very
whatever it is, it's happening.
that's a I think that's a 30 Rock joke. Oh god, what is that? Oh my god. I'll think
Yeah,
about it
it's gonna
later.
haunt you later.
It is. It's just
I
like Liz
apologize. I
going feral.
apologize.
It's all good. It's all good. Um yeah, so I think that's a big part of it is that some of these negative reviews that anyone who posits that something like a pedal that's not for them is just shitty,
Hmm.
I don't think that's helpful. I mean, it's we have our guest today is
Yes, that is Figaro. He is McHowley today. He's very howly. He's upset because I have been editing for my demo like for the past week nonstop and not giving him attention. So he is telling me his displeasure today. So if you hear random meows, I
don't
apologize.
apologize
He's
for
giving me
meows.
lip. Yeah,
We
he's giving
love
me
the
lip.
meows. Carrie's been giving me lip too. I've
Mm,
told you about it, but
yep.
she's just mad at me all night long the past couple
Mm,
nights. Yes, we won't talk about it. Um, but yeah, I just think that's kind of the big thing is a lot of to me it and this might kind of go into it's all about fan bases, which was the next point in this article where he says music publications don't run negative reviews because quote psychotic online fanatics will
oh
make the
God.
lives of their writers miserable.
Emails.
Yes, emails, comments. I feel like there are some kind of fanatical fan bases in gear. They're
Yeah.
not as bad as music. They're just not. And all honestly, I think it can kind of um be almost the opposite where some gear companies have haters to the point where they are like fine. I've had this happen on my in my comment section. Somebody will just look up every demo by a company and they will leave the same negative comment on it
Jesus,
about
who hurt
well,
you?
apparently TC Electronics is the answer to that most recent one.
Ooh.
I actually I really burned a bridge there. But
Oof.
I don't care. He sh- um that is to say if you are in this space and the only time you ever talk to me or the first time you ever talk to me is to leave a scathing rant in my comments section about something that has nothing to do with me, suck it.
No, the ones that I find interesting is when they give customer like reviews or like argue or like bitch about the something about the panel. It's like there is a email that you can contact the company and tell them this. Why are you in the comment section on someone's demo? Like, are
People
you
gotta
afraid you're
talk.
going to be left on read? Like, it's just email the damn company.
People gotta find someone to talk to and
Well, you're a face then. Yeah. Well, they
yeah,
can yeah,
so
they can shout at clouds.
a lot of people don't have the same like community that we
Yeah.
do, like group of friends. A lot of people are siloed in their hobbies. I know you and I both play Pokemon Go and we play it with our partners.
Yes.
I see people who are sad because they're like, I don't have any friends who play this game. And I think
Aw.
that's sad. Maybe you should make some friends who play this game. I don't know what to tell you, but I sympathize. And that's just and that's just a free mobile game. This is not this is guitar is something that a hobby that people invest often thousands of dollars into
Ooh,
over the
yeah.
course of their lifetime. They're gonna have opinions. They're gonna have spicy opinions, and they're going to want to talk about it with somebody.
Yeah, and again, I think that also when you talk about the gear community and music and things like that, is you go into the whole thing of accessibility too. With gear, there is boutique, and then of course there is budget. I mean, there's different tiers of that. And sometimes I've noticed some people, as far as like boutique pedals, they complain that there aren't negative reviews because they want to, I
Mhm.
guess, be upset about the boutique pedals or if any kind of gear being favored over the ones that they can afford or feel guilty over the fact that they can't afford them. So it's that whole thing where you can't get this, gear bad, other gear bad. And I was like, no, as long as they sound good and they do similar functions, I mean, whatever you can afford, if it gets the job done, that's what works. That's what's good.
Listen, as long as you're being financially responsible
Yeah.
and stuff, like I don't think you should really give a shit about how other people spend their money.
No,
Period. Like if it's somebody, if
no
it's like
shame.
if it's a loved one and they are going into debt over this hobby,
Yeah.
please have an intervention.
Yes.
Please intervene and do something to help because like it's all about what you can really afford. And you know what? I forgot to mention something when I started this list.
Hmm.
Stephen is talking about the theories. So those 3 points, those are the most common theories that people have about why there aren't negative music reviews. So far we've talked about access and the potential fear of a journalist not getting access next time. We've kind of,
Blackballing, yep.
yeah, that's again, we've talked about that's not really a thing
Mm-hmm.
in gear. Fan bases. Listen, I don't think anyone's worried that if they shit on a JHS pedal that someone is going to come at them. But like, I've seen, I've done like a couple negative demos. The most negative demo I've ever done was the Wish.com clone. People fucking came at me. This is true. They did. And you know what? I didn't care because I said in the demo, I will only think that this pedal is worth the $40 I paid for it if I get more than $40 out of this demo. And I did. So
Yeah.
thanks, internet haters. But like, obviously that's a formula that I just don't care to replicate with any regularity. I'd rather focus on things I give a shit about. I released that demo because I knew it'd get clicks. And I filmed it.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
the third
you
one,
did the
yeah.
job.
The third one is it's about poptimism. Music publications don't run negative reviews because writers have been brainwashed by an everything is good and relevant critical ideology. I think that this is the one that we can maybe most compare to gear demoers. The idea that everything is good, everything is as good as it's ever been. I don't think anyone doing gear demos has that perspective. I think we all have a huge appreciation for vintage gear and everything that came before it.
Yeah.
I do think it's hard to argue with the fact that we have a lot more resources now to create these incredible things that no one's ever thought about before.
Yes.
So there's that. But there's a turn. Stephen says, I have listed these theories in descending order of credibility. One is kind of true, but only for certain publications in far fewer instances than is assumed. This is true. A reputable publicist will not blackball a publication or a writer for being honest. And what a good publicist tries to do is get that music in front of people who they think are going to be receptive to it in the first place. So that's the same with gear demos. I don't get every demo for like cattle and bread. Cattle and bread sends me the things they think I'm going to like. Old Blood does the same, but I think they kind of know I'm going to like everything.
Yes.
Everything that they
Yes.
put out because it's true.
Yes.
Um, I got some DoD pedals based on what Tom Cram thought I might like. If you're doing that job well, you're going to try to make perfect matches and give your music or your product its best chance of success.
Representation. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's why Fender sends me Jazzmasters and Telecasters because they know I like those two styles of guitar.
Yeah.
So, or they just ask me what I want, and I get to pick what I think I'll like, which is even more fun.
That's the best option.
Number 2, it's about bases is barely true, especially since these online fanatics will even protest positive reviews for not being positive enough. That's very true. Oh my gosh. It's like, I would never want to get on the wrong side of the Taylor Swift fan base.
Oh, no.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
Taylor Swift and K-pop fan bases in particular, very
Yo.
hardcore.
Oof.
And number 3 isn't true at all about poptimism. This guy says, particularly when it comes to butt rock bands who have been the lowest hanging fruit for music writers since Grand Funk Railroad.
Wow.
It's a great, great line. So, what this guy says is that the most logical explanation, the truest one, is the decline of the general interest music critic. If you're interested in reading this article and the rest of it, I'll include a link in the description. But he says, 30 years ago, music criticism was predominantly local business. There were local alt weeklies and stuff. But and people would have like you have your jazz critic, you'd have your pop critic.
Specialized.
Now,
Yeah.
these critics, because they're just people can't hire 5 critics for an alt weekly. They can't hire
No.
one. So this
No. Yeah.
so now whoever is doing the the journalism is required to have a broad musical taste, but a human being's taste can only be so eclectic. Blind spots are inevitable. A critic might enjoy mainstream rock but have no feel for country.
Mm.
And this is, I think, could be pretty true, could be true with gear, except we are still very, and I made this point earlier, what a good publicist is going to do, or what a good um, A&R AR person is going to do, is make those perfect matches. So
Yeah.
people can have like a better idea of what a good overdrive should sound like. And they don't have to know or understand how the shit a big sky works.
Yeah, that's like one of the things of I remember during that whole Walrus, the last one that came out, which had the joystick and it
Melee?
was kind of yeah, the melee. And there was a lot of people that obviously love Walrus or like shoegaze, and they were at least in the comment section on some of the people that were given these pedals that play different style of music, they were complaining over the fact that they were given pedals out to do demos to people who weren't understanding of the genre or the that these pedals kind of cater to for the most
Yeah.
part. So they felt misrepresented. And then after that, I guess they must have heard that. And then we started to see a few more demo artists that do play to that, then get some in their hands. I mean, I don't have a particular history of liking Walrus, but I think that goes back to the point of fan bases being very vocal about something and then basically being, hey, like this doesn't this doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, if you give someone who mostly plays blues rock like this the Callan Bread soft focus, and they did,
Yeah.
like they want,
Like, yeah.
because brands do want to give like a wide swath. A lot of these demo artists, the bigger you are, the more likely you're going to get stuff outside of your niche. And it's really
Mhm.
hard to give a critical review of a product like that. If all you do is shoegaze and you get a pedal that's supposed to be great for shoegaze, that's its whole vibe, you're going to know really quickly if it's good shoegaze. If you're a music critic and you just listen to like country and that's all you do, you're going to pick up on the intricacies that make good country versus bad country. Like reggaeton is a great example for me personally. I don't know if I'm listening to good reggaeton or bad reggaeton. And it's I don't have that depth of knowledge. It's another reason a lot of I don't know if it's still this way, but it was last time I talked to someone who was a voting Grammy member about voting in the
Yeah.
Grammys. Um, it was Mark Volman from the Turtles. He was a professor at Belmont, and he said that he gets to vote in like 3 to 5 categories, and he gets to pick the ones that he feels most informed on. So he can actually be like, "Oh, I'm not gonna just vote for that one because I've heard it." He's like, "I'm gonna vote for that one because it actually is the best, and I can say this because I'm an expert in this particular genre of music." Yes,
Yes.
Figs.
Yes, we agree. One of the things that, in talking about the whole thing of people who don't represent typically getting either effects pedals or gear that aren't specific either the country or they're more to other areas of music, sometime taking those type of pedals and you're playing that to different music gives new ways of expression and finding ways to use that kind of effect in that, and that can give something a freshness or a new outlook on that. And touching upon reggaeton, when I think of the last album from Ghost, the song in the 20s, that is a reggaeton beat and it's being used in something that's typically not the musical environment you would use that beat to. And it took me a little bit to like be okay with it, but I was like, wow, this is like something I've never heard in this space, but in a sense, it really works for the song.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. So I really liked this article. Again, I will link to it. Um, he talks about how like everybody has blind spots.
Mhm.
Like some of the most prolific music journalists of all time. Uh, One of them had a blind spot to metal and hard rock, like not liking Back in Black, not liking Master of Puppets, and not liking Guns N' Roses. And that is another thing, like that I think you don't see very much in gear demos because the idea of gear is to inspire, to create, and it
Yeah.
doesn't really behoove anybody to shit on something just because it's not for you.
Them, yeah.
I mean, imagine imagine an actual like music critic who's very well regarded thinks Back in Black sucks. I think that pretty categorically it's good. Like, and it's very popular and it has inspired a lot of people. It's very historically significant if nothing else. And you cannot like flangers and appreciate that they have a place in
They do.
music. And does it really is it helpful for anybody to have just a scathing review? I'm thinking Pitchfork's review of that Jet record where the whole review is just a video of a monkey pissing in its own mouth.
Oh god.
Famously crazy. Like, why kind of review. And like when you look back at like Pitchfork, I think may have retracted that terrible Liz Phair review because it didn't age well. It didn't behoove anybody, and it was an easy target at the time. Just like literally, he says this Stephen Hayden,
Yes.
yeah, Stephen Hayden says butt rock is an easy target because it's not inventive music. Like I'm actually giving my own opinion on butt rock. It's not particularly inventive. It's often not particularly interesting. It can be really fun to see live. You're into it, but
Yeah.
it's not for me. And it's for somebody, sure, but it's not for people who read music reviews either. I don't think it's for people who are very critical of music, and that's fine. Like I don't think that Amazon Basics guitar pedals are for in any a lot of those affordable pedals. I don't think that they're particularly for people who are critical about guitar pedals. They're for
No.
like butt rock bands are great if you want to like have some danceable kind of party fun rock. Amazon Basics pedals are great if you need a reverb and you don't really care much about like other than it sounds like acceptable and fine.
Yeah, I mean, it could be the first time you're ever trying an effect. You're a beginner with trying pedals, and you're like, well, this is cheap enough for me to have a taste and see whether it's something I need or like. And it's a cheap enough kind of like entry point that I can see for myself what,
Yeah.
whether I like it or don't.
Yeah, and that's what I think the beauty in those kinds of pedals is. Um, I just don't. And if you can make them sound really great, that's awesome. I'm not. I just want to specify I'm not shitting on
No, no,
affordable pedals,
no.
but I think that's kind of a good approximate example. I'm
Yeah,
trying to think of. Yeah, I'm trying to think
I
of
mean,
other
I
negative
have
reviews, but go ahead.
no. I mean, no. I mean, as far as like a more, like, slow engine I have. I mean, that's a pretty at the time, like, cheap pedal and did one trick thing, but I mean, it was something that I was unsure of whether I wanted, and it was kind of an entry kind of price, and I was like, "Okay, we'll try it out," and, yeah, maybe it's a little noisy, but it does the job that it does really well, so, like, I can't gripe with it. I don't think it's a bad pedal at all, but I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of people will think that because of a price point sometimes that, "Oh, it must be shit." And like, no. Sometimes if it does a job really well and it doesn't really cost that much to make the internals or to produce it, like that's the price point for it. It's not reflective.
It's like the Mass Effect's Tiny Fuzz. It's
Yeah.
like
Oh, I
80.
love
It's
that
what
one.
it was $80 when I demoed it. It rips. It's a great
Yeah.
affordable pedal. They are out there and they're just so exciting when you find the ones that are actually really, really good. So that's just one that's an example
Yeah.
of a good one. I can't think of a lot of really negative pedal reviews. I know that there are some pedals that are just famously understood as terrible, like the Eric Clapton signature pedal, pretty famously considered one of the worst pedals ever. A lot of people don't like DS1s or DS2s, and then, that's all Kurt Cobain played through pretty much that and like I think a rat. So I do think that music is so subjective and that
Yeah. Same thing with gear.
you were able to get more nuanced reviews back when people could just be like, this is my thing, This is my thing, that's my thing, and I'm going to stick with it so that I can, you know, develop the vocabulary, the understanding, the nuances of any of my genre, of my thing. It's kind of like how I personally can't always tell when a piece of art is AI art, going back to that episode from a few weeks ago. Listen,
Yes.
I know a couple things. I know the eyes don't always look in the same direction. The ears can be completely different shapes. Hands, what are they? A lot of times they're either blurred or they look horrifying.
Or there's like 8 on one
Yeah.
hand, and I'm like, "No. No, 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 no."
Yeah, but I follow the graphic designer. She makes a lot of posters, Nicole Rifkin, on Twitter, and she or somebody posted a picture of a poster, and she's like, "This is AI art," and I have no idea how she could tell. Um, but she is so in that space. I believe her. I mean, I can. There's some copy I can read and be like,
And
"Oh,
tell you.
that's AI generated." Like there are weird things. It feels very like stiff a lot of times. I'm like, this is either AI or just a poor content mill type of writing assignment. And I'm sure you can tell a little bit better
Yeah,
as a
I
designer.
yeah, for me as a designer, I can tell pretty quick that it's AI generated. It's something about when it comes to people's skin. There's an
Mm.
unnatural, like porcelain kind of sheen to like it looks a bit too shiny at times. There's no pores sometimes. Like, yeah, I can tell when it's AI in scrolling through. Oh, this is amazing. Like immediately I know it's AI just because of like the way that it's too perfect.
Totally. Um, so that's just something to keep in mind when you're thinking about like what makes a lot of negative demos. Like there are people who just go in on one genre or one style, but no one really can survive just following one type of effect. You get great, and that's why you get great critical demos from Mike Adams,
Yeah.
because he has been in and out of every offset on the fucking planet. And he knows exactly when something's wrong, when like these are the wrong size block inlays. This fret is just a little bit flat. Like this is not correct for that period. And like a lot of stuff like that, that someone like Jason and Tia, they reviewed like literally the same guitar, literally the same physical unit, and their review wasn't exactly glowing either. But they just, you know, they've worked at Guitar Center, but they like repairing guitars, repairing offsets a lot. You're going to have a much more depth of knowledge, because if you are like working at a big box retailer, you do still have to be that jack of all trades. You
Yeah.
have to understand like Telecasters versus Les Pauls versus Strats versus PRS's Mark Holcomb signature SE or whatever. Like you have to know a lot, but it's you don't. It's a wider swath. Swath? Is that the right word?
Umbrella.
Let's
Ella
call it an
Ella.
umbrella. Let's call
There
it
we go.
umbrella.
That
Ella.
works. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
as far as like and again, when I go back, when I say perfection when it comes to I don't mean that they're perfect. It's just the fact that people and things have flaws. Like there's not a perfect symmetry, like you could tell. But in regards to like effects, I mean, even for me, when it comes to demos, I don't do things that I hate because I spend so much time and work on it. I would not work that hard on something I hate. So I'm, again, as much as it's a kind of a gear demo, it's kind of hard to like categorize what I do because it's pretty much kind of more an entertainment segment, to be honest. But yeah, when I think about effects, I like modulation mostly. Like that's
Mm.
mostly what a lot of things that I do are going to be geared towards. But even still, I go into discords. I talk to people in pedal groups. I talk about different effects. I even ask builders about circuits inside just because I want to be more knowledgeable, to be able to explain, to understand how effects are, even if they're not something that I use typically. I still want to know enough about them that I can have conversations with people and speak, obviously, the language in that community.
Mm. Yeah, and that's a big thing is that growing knowledge is
Mhm.
also going to just give you the opportunity to eventually be more critical. But again,
Yeah,
like you and I, like this is our hobby. Like
pretty much.
this is part of my livelihood for sure. It's a part of my revenue and the money I make that pays for my mortgage. And I am in like the MI industry as my day job, or at least the pro audio industry. And you know, it is part of something I'm around a lot on the marketing side. But yeah, I just don't think that it's it makes a ton of sense for any gear channel to get to the point where, well, anyone who's doing this as a hobbyist, to
Yeah,
spend time on something that's not going to be good. As a music journalist, like you get paid if you don't like the video. I mean, if
yeah,
you don't like if you don't like the album, and but the difference is it's usually the brands that are paying us also, and that's not going to keep someone from being negative about something if it
yeah.
deserves it. But it does change the type of relationship you have a little bit where I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this, but you're talking
There's a
about, like,
little
the
bit of
types of
friction
affection.
sometimes. Yeah,
There can
you'll get
be, but
friction.
it's not
Mhm.
it's like, again, if it's a good builder or a good company, they're gonna be understanding if there are things you don't like about something, and they're gonna be understanding if you send it back. And because it's like, I can't do one of these every day anymore. Like, I was going at a good clip for a while. I'm really just trying to get a better quality
Of
of life
course. A balance,
balance kind
yeah.
of thing. And
Yeah.
as a result, I've slowed down. And as a result, like Tom Cram sent me 4 DoD pedals. He says, just pick the one you like the best. I'm like, yeah, you know what? That's fair. And I am absolutely going to do that.
That's what you should
And
do.
I'm
I mean,
excited about it.
again, I
Yeah.
think again, this is for me, it's a passion project. Again, this is kind of like, yeah, for the both of us, more of like a hobby that we do and we're passionate and we love doing. And we still, aside from our work, have a life. Like I have aging family, I have construction in my house, like I have other things that I have to attend to besides the work that I do. Like some of my available time is to other things that I need to do besides working on demos. And I think the last two have taken longer because my life has intervened in many ways. And yeah, these are things we do on like our free time. It's not
Yeah.
like yeah, it's not where like we're clocking in to do this. So I think it is very important to take time for yourself. I mean, get the work done, but I mean, take breaks. Like
Yeah.
going breakneck speed, one after the other, you're just going to burn yourself out. And it's not good, obviously, health wise. You'll start to obviously hate what you used to love. And you don't want to suck the joy out of something that really does give some kind of enrichment to your life creatively. You have
Yeah.
to pace yourself and you have to be kind to yourself because there's going to be days where you just pick up the guitar or pick up a paintbrush and you are just not going to be productive. Nothing's going to come out and you're going to be upset. But it's okay. Like you can have a day in which things don't work out. Sometimes
Yeah.
it can be a week. It'll
Yeah.
come back. Be patient.
Even even professional marathoners will
Yeah.
sometimes they'll go on a run and they'll just be like, I can't do it today.
Yeah.
And that's
It's
a big
fine.
thing, and I think no and I liked your point about, like, that you like modulation, so that's what you choose to focus on. Like, I know Anne Slikowski doesn't do dirt demos. It's not what lights her fire, and I like doing them. I think that I am in a, decreasing group of people who just really likes doing, demoing dirt pedals. I just think you know, everybody is picky about their overdrives and distortions,
Of
and
course.
yeah. I like
Yeah.
it, but, yeah, I really liked this article. Again, that was, Uproxx, and that was Stephen Hayden, so hat tip to the cultural critic. Um, I just think it's you know, if you want negative takes on stuff, you can go to Reddit.
Yes.
You can go to the gear page. There are
Yeah.
a lot of people with really negative opinions, and that's fine. And I think a part of it is also like what is the culture that you want to cultivate within this community? Do you want it to be like a safe community where people can like what they like, and you know, if it's not for you, it's not for you, and that's cool. But it's definitely for somebody else. Or do you want it to be the kind of place that's really gatekeepy and people are They don't hesitate to just go negative for the sake of going negative.
Yeah.
There are plenty of people that are very negative. This world can be a very upsetting and downer of a place. I'm not super interested in like being a part of that. I'm just
No,
super
neither am
interested
I.
in I'm super interested in being honest and transparent, and people aren't going to believe me regardless. And then again, when I do say something
Yep.
negative about a pedal that I just didn't like the Wish.com clone, the sound
It's
of
it's
it.
it's
People
okay. I mean, I
people tend to ignore the part of that demo where I'm like, the foot switch barely works. It was like
oh,
it wasn't aligned right, so it was really difficult to press the foot switch. People glossed over that part plenty and just yelled at me in the
it
comments for not liking their favorite $40 pedal.
it's okay. I mean, I have a Wish pedal. I love it. I had a positive experience it, but that is my experience. I'm not going to come in your comments and go, "This is what are you talking about? You should love this. What are you doing?" Like, I don't need to defend the pedal or the brand. If someone doesn't like something, they're free to not like it. I mean, that's the power of choice. And I
Yeah.
know, at least when it comes to gear communities, in the negative spaces and the positive space. That's one of the reasons why, for me, I always say be the good you wish to see in the world and be excellent to each other. Because, I mean, I've had times where I've posted, like in, let's say, pedal boards of doom, and someone's posting their pedal board and they lay their guitar down next to it, and it's a Mariposa, and I'm like, oh my god, like I love the design of that guitar. So me and him are going back and forth about obviously what we love about this guitar, and then just a random comment is saying, "Oh, there's no tone knob. It's just two volumes." I'm like,
Okay, that's your opinion, that's
okay, like,
fine, but
were
like,
you were you unhappy that we were having a happy conversation about a guitar and you just wanted to come in and just be negative? Like, what is the point?
yes.
Like, what is the point of that? Like,
There
I
are
don't
also
get it.
I have noticed there are people in this world in general, they think their negative opinion is the correct one. They don't think their opinion is an opinion, they think their opinion is a fact, and,
Mm,
it's mostly men, but it is a thing, and I've noticed this, we've talked about this
yeah, on
before,
the past,
but
yeah.
it's I'll say, "Hey, it's okay for you to think that. It's fine by me that you think that." And they will say, "It's not that I think that. It's not that it's the truth." And it happens a lot. And it happens in really, really weird, stupid things. I'm like, if you don't like the way a hot cake or whatever sounds, that's fine. That doesn't make it shitty. If you don't think that a certain weird type of modulation effect is usable, that's fine. But
Yeah,
that doesn't make your opinion fact, because there's so few things in this world that are facts. A fact is that the guitar that Tia and Jason and Working Class Music got had a bad pickup,
yep,
bad frets, a bad Bigsby, and a bad bridge alignment. Those are four facts. The
facts.
opinion is
That's a
that
fact.
Jason really liked the neck. Tia didn't like the neck. They had a difference of opinion there.
Of course.
Neither of those is fact, except for that they had the opinion.
Yeah,
And that's something that the meanest people in the comments, pretend isn't true. They can pretend all they want. We know. We
yeah.
know how
No,
true
of
it
course.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I just follow that up with, like, the Lebowski of, like, "Well, yeah, that's just, like, your opinion, dude."
Man.
Like,
Yeah.
whatever.
I appreciate the Bill and Ted reference as well.
Yes.
Be excellent to each other.
Mhm.
Cool. I think we should probably wrap it up. Please
Yeah,
like, comment, subscribe. Check us out at patreon.com/getoffset. Big ups to our new Patreon subscriber. I'm about to look up your name.
yay. Welcome,
Uh,
welcome.
I'm not logged in on Patreon, so it's gonna take me a
Oh,
second.
no.
I'll look at my phone. Why did I get logged off of everything, man? Why does this keep
Do,
happening to
do,
me?
do, do, do,
Dun,
do, do,
dun,
do, do.
dun, dun,
Do,
dun,
do,
dun,
do. Do, do,
dun,
do,
dun,
do, do, do.
dun.
Do,
What is that
do, do.
from?
Do, 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 do. Well, I know it was from an
Is that the
Offspring
Wii
album.
music? No, okay, it sounds a
No,
little
no,
bit
no.
like the
Oh, we
Wii
can do
music.
that. Do, 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 do.
Bop, bop, bop.
Do, do,
Da, da,
do,
da.
do, 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 do. Dun, dun,
Thanks
dun.
thanks to Rachel. Oh,
Hey, Rachel.
so I just turned on Siri. Thanks to Rachel for joining our Patreon.
Hey,
So
Rachel,
happy to
welcome.
have
Thank
you.
you. Hey.
You too can join our Patreon at patreon.com/getoffset. $5 a month or more gets you access to our exclusive Discord server, which is nice and active, but not overwhelmingly so, which makes it my
Yes.
favorite kind of Discord server.
Me too.
I feel like most of them are like either chaotic or dead.
Yes. Yeah, even like in my personal channel Discord, I love the fact that I just have a handful of people that I talk to every week, and I just love that kind of consistency and getting to know people, and connecting with them in the ways that we do, talking about gear, talking about life, and sharing, even food. Like it's just a great little community that you kind of just get connected with. And even with the Get Offset Discord, I mean, through many years, I mean, a lot of the people that I've connected with there have become like friends that I talk to almost on a daily basis through memes
Yeah.
and many other ways.
Yes, absolutely. Love that channel. Check out
Mhm.
Joe's channel. I know you're working on that Alexander
Yes.
Marshmallow demo. Really stoked to see it. Uh,
Yes, it'll
I'm
be done at some point before NAMM.
good.
Hopefully.
That'll be exciting. Yeah, what else? Merch at podcast.com/shop. Thank you to the one person who bought the shirt with my face on it. I lowered the price to $27 just for
Oh, for
you.
fuzz sake.
Yeah, just the Emily Dumb face shirt.
That's still so
And
great.
I will send you a mental high five if you do buy one because yeah. Cool. That's all I've got. I'm pretty exhausted and sleep deprived.
Same.
Yes. Everybody out there, thanks for watching/listening.
Thanks for understanding.
Until next time, I'm your favorite demo shill. My name is Emily.
And I am Joan of Heart. Be excellent to each other.
All right. Bye.
Bye.